Good morning, Tom. How are you doing this morning?
Hi, Paul. Good to see you.
Good
I'm
to see
doing what?
you.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah? How's your week been?
Sure. It's been okay.
Oh no, it's not been all okay, clearly. What's that all about?
I had a little jet ski spill on Sunday. We were out just enjoying the weather, and I hit a series of wakes that just tossed me 20 feet out into the ocean. So
Oh, man.
that
I'm
was
glad.
fun.
So obviously something foot related.
Yes, I twisted my ankle. It's a nice little sprain on my lower leg. So this too shall pass. But other than that, we're doing good.
Something bigger, something up higher. Um, and so you'll be on that for a couple of weeks?
I expect so. I expect so. It's getting better already, but
Okay.
we'll play it by ear.
Well, I had no injuries this week, thankfully. I actually just got back from Chicago late last night, and I was out visiting with some clients and some prospects, and also recorded a couple of podcasts with the Making Chips guys. So that was
I love that
super
show.
fun. Those guys are just a blast to hang out with. So yeah, and had one of our customers join me on one of the shows. Um, Guy, he actually, I've done some videos with him here on our own website. Matt Golick from 3D Industries in Chicago. Just a great thought leader, really good guy.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I have been following that podcast for quite a while. I haven't listened to any episodes recently, but excellent source of thinking instruction.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And they say they learn just as much as as they're teaching with other people with having guests on, and it's been neat,
Hmm.
especially Jim change car, machine, and tool. Really a huge amount. Into more of a production shop, moving into a new business, all new equipment. Um,
Yeah.
of course, he uses ProShop, and it's been sort of the backbone of some of that growth and the infrastructure behind it.
Hmm.
Which is what we're going to talk a little bit about today. Um, but before that, I want to get your opinion on something. So we
Okay.
have a customer. It's a high school machine shop. So it's an instructional program, but they run a business out of their high school. It's called Eagle Manufacturing, and it's in Brown County, Indiana. And
Hmm.
they do machining and they do promotional products. So all the things that we get, the sweatshirt, the hoodie we sent you, or the shirt we sent you, they print those and make those for us. They use ProShop to run that business, and we basically
Cool.
donated ProShop to their program. Um,
Yeah.
it's been just so much fun. So they sent us some hats. We've been wanting to get some hats made. So I don't know what you think about this hat. It's I like it, and it has this new printing technique. It's kind of like 3D printing, but it's like screen printing. It's super thick. Actually, this shirt also.
Okay.
I don't know if you can make that out, but what do you think of this hat?
It's lovely. It's great. I can't tell what the dome depth is, but
Okay,
I'm a short dome guy.
short dome guy. Okay, that's good,
Yeah,
good to know.
but love the hat.
And then we have some masks to stay safe. And then
Ah,
we're making us some keychains. This one is a little on the large side, but we're going to scale that down. Some little pro shop.
ah,
So it's fun to work with kids. These are perfect little machining projects for them because we're not in
mhm.
a hurry. They get to learn about the programming, fixturing process, cutting tools, and then they can, go out to industry and get a machine shop job. So
That
yeah,
is fantastic. What's the name of that again?
their business
Ye-
is called Eagle Manufacturing, and the high school. Oh, is it called? Oh, I forget what the name of the high school is, but it's in Brown County, Indiana, uh,
Okay.
and
Hmm.
actually I think it's Nashville, Indiana. I think it's what it's called.
I,
Um,
I was approached on Monday of this week with a local Center for Innovative Excellence that has approached high school out on the mainland
mhm.
about starting what sounds like a fairly similar program. So maybe this is something that's going to be more popular
Yeah, there's a
as we
couple
go
of
on.
examples of it around the country that have been in business, that have been doing things longer. This one is only
Uh-huh.
a couple, 3 years old, maybe.
Okay.
But
Hmm.
yeah, I think it's immensely important. We'd
Yeah.
love to support more of them. So yeah, if you get involved with this one, connect us and we might be able to donate it to them too.
Certainly.
All right. Well, let's dig into what you have been doing with ProShop. I know your week was busy with a new machine and obviously your injury, but you did meet with Michael and do a training session. So can you tell us a little bit about what you did this week?
Right. So we were introduced in a nutshell to the organizational chart functionality of ProShop this week. And at first it seemed sort of an odd place to start. I mean, I sort of expected, let's do invoicing, let's do work orders, but once it was unpacked, it became immediately obvious how well, ProShop forms a bedrock of our company, and it appears as if the organizational chart and the functionality of each position in the organizational chart makes it possible to get the job done in ProShop. So I'm just looking at my little meager organizational chart right now, and just kind of thinking about where RX Industries is going to go in the future, and what my long-term plans are. I have a 10-year plan that takes us from a two-man shop, as we are today, to about 10 people total. And we never intend to be this 50-man gigantic shop. And in order for us to leverage the efficiencies of a few people, in order to be productive and profitable, we have to have the organizational critical mass of a Fortune 500 company. And I mean, that's really why we brought on ProShop. Sure. So when we look at the organizational chart here, Justin sits over there, and when we brought up the organizational chart, he looked over at me like, why are we doing this? I'm busy, I have things to do, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the training with Michael, he hung up and he was like, this is going to be fantastic. We're going to get so much done with this. I can't believe it. And we didn't really move beyond the organizational chart and what it means and how different positions will go away and how many hats people will wear. So it was really a tide turning kind of thing with Justin. I mean, he was really high after that training session.
That's cool.
It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. One of our customers says that ProShop is basically the perfect recipe for how to bake a cake. You just put in your own ingredients and you'll have a great cake. And that is really sort of in an essence, that is what we try to do with ProShop. We try to put in a structure and a foundation that a company can build on, whether they want a man shop or a two-man shop or a 200-man shop, right? The business processes are fundamentally the same, especially since you want to get certified, right?
Absolutely.
And the auditors will be looking for training records. They'll be looking for responsibilities. They'll be looking for all the record control. And so understanding how all those pieces go together, regardless of what size shop you are, that's a pretty key component. And it's also a key component of reliable execution, right? I've talked to shop owners where, there's maybe two partners and they don't really have it clearly defined who does what. So they both do a little bit of everything, and then things get, balls get dropped. They're like, hey, I thought you ordered that material. No, I thought you ordered that material. And now they're sitting there with a machine down, right?
Right.
Speaks into this same topic. But yeah, I'm glad that he was excited. Glad you were excited. It is an odd, without understanding the context, it is an odd thing to start with. And that's actually one of the reasons I was excited to do this little series with you, really starting at the very beginning, just like we've been doing with Ripley Machine, just so other folks can see, if they did become a ProShop customer, this is what you would be doing, right? So they're be very clear about it, because not every company wants to dig into an org chart, right? And if they don't, great. They can run their business that way. That's totally fine, but they may not be a good fit for us.
Well, it wasn't the most obvious thing in the world, but once you see how the organizational chart plugs into the way that your business is managed and run, it makes complete sense to start there. I had a Zoom meeting last night with the Boy Scouts, and I actually stole some of the ideas from ProShop because we've got some scouts that are trying to get their Eagle badge, and some balls were dropped.
Right.
And you just mentioned that, which brought that to mind. And I think this is a not obvious way to get started so that the foundation is really firm.
Mm-hmm. Well, to elaborate a little more on just, whatever size you want to be and how the tools can help you be efficient in that size.
Mm-hmm.
We have a couple of shops, maybe half a dozen or so of shops that are, truly like one to 3 person shops that don't ever plan to grow.
Yeah.
One of our oldest customers is a one-man shop. He's used ProShop for probably 5 or 6 years now. And he ships crazy amounts of money out of that shop, like $400,000, one-man shop. He does well, and he uses ProShop just like a 10-man shop, right? He estimates it using ProShop. As he wins those jobs, he converts them into work orders. All the raw materials and outside processing that were on those estimates get queued up into the purchasing dashboard. He puts on his purchasing hat. He goes, issues POs to all of his material vendors. When the material comes in, he receives it, scans the certs, that links it to the job, and then he starts programming and making parts. But it's fascinating, that he's so religious about doing it that way. But it really works for him.
Well, to hear you say all those tasks makes it really sound like, well, that's a full-time job. Well, obviously, what makes ProShop very, very good for me is its efficiency in doing that. So I'm not spending, half of a week doing all those tasks that you just said. So getting us set up so that it helps RX Industries leverage the work that a 2, 3, 4-man shop can crank out crazy amounts of chips is the purpose for doing this. Honestly, I mean, as much as I like you, Paul, I wouldn't do this if it didn't make me money. If I didn't feel 100% certain that it was going to make me money.
Absolutely.
I like talking to you, but at the end of the day,
we can talk about other things if we just want to chat.
That's right.
Although there's nothing more fun than talking about shops, in my opinion. But so yeah, no, I mean, that's true. And we try to sort of boil it down to the absolute kind of bare essentials, we think. So there's really nothing extraneous that you should be doing, right? Not because it's just nice to do, right? You got to quote your jobs, you got to convert them to orders, you got to buy material, you got to program, you got to make your parts, you got to inspect them and ship them, right? Those are the core. And there's tools in amongst those tasks that make them, way more efficient, way more connected. So if you ever need to go back then and look at that job, or your customer asks for those certs, or you need to show them the inspection report, if that's true, if they don't, then don't use it. But yeah, just trying to do those in an efficient way. So I thought I would do is pull up your system, if you don't mind, and just show the org chart and the company positions module, which is what you played today or this week.
Sure.
So let me share my screen here.
And keep in mind, we just got started with this.
Yeah. No, there's no judgment here at all. So
all
right. So this company position module. So I should mention to folks, and you probably know this too, but the Flying Start package that you got, that's why you have all these company positions in your system, right?
Oh, no kidding. I didn't know that.
That is part of the Flying Start. So if you didn't get the Flying Start, you would have no positions here. You might have a couple. I don't know. I think we have maybe a couple of basics, but that is part of the Flying Start package. So, there are 76 positions in this org chart. and you're a team of 2 people. Like, how does that make any sense, right? But
Right.
but as you know, right, when you're out on the road trying to win a customer, you have your salesperson hat on, right? When
That's
you're
right.
you have your estimator hat on. You know, when you're converting that order into that quote into an order, you have your order entry or admin hat on. Right?
Right.
You have your QMS manager hat on as you're doing the contract review for all the quality requirements. And then when you order material for that job, you have your planner hat on. And then when you queue up and decide, you know, and then when you go to order it, you have your purchasing hat on, right? So in the course of a day, Tom, you probably wear, you're going to try standing, huh?
I am. I'm
Okay.
getting too stiff. Sorry about that, Paul.
That's quite all right. You said you prefer standing whenever you can.
I do. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, feel for you. Anyway, don't want to belabor the point, but your goal, you know, if you plan to be a 10-person shop, your goal is to not wear every single hat. Someday you will not be doing a machinist role, right? And someday you will not be doing purchasing, probably, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You will. Maybe you love purchasing and you want to keep doing that. But so let's take a look. So we go from this list of positions, and if you click on the org chart, that gives you the org chart, right? So the org chart is automatically generated by ProShop whenever we click that button, and it looks at the entire company positions list and which role reports to which other role, and that's how it builds the chart. And it does it every single time. This is not a saved chart. This is every single time you click that, it reanalyzes all the positions, and it shows you that. So I can see you here are the president, and I see 2 other names here. There's Justin, who's your manufacturing manager, and then looks like your wife Sarah is your VP of finance, right?
Yes.
And then there's a whole bunch of positions, some even over here on the right, that don't have any names yet at all. And kind of as we talked about, you know, depending on what your company is going to look like ultimately, what you'll either do is to just inactivate or remove some of the positions, or if you're going to be doing them, you're going to put your own name into those positions, right? So
and that's what we were learning with Michael here the last event. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So very likely, Justin is going to get put into your programming lead. He's going to put into your production programmer, your day shift lead, your setup machinist, operator, you know, manufacturing planner. So he's going to be wearing at least 10 different hats, I would bet, before you're done with this process.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right? And based on what he's doing that particular day, that's what he's actually going to be doing. He's going to put that hat on. If we imagine a row of, you know, of ProShop hats with a company position underneath the logo, he'll just switch hats depending on what he's doing. And so, but some of these you probably will get rid of, right? So if you're never going to do design engineering, for example, you would probably get rid of your engineering manager and design engineer positions. If you don't get into assembly work, you may get rid of the assembly ones. But you plan on getting certified, right? Now, are you going for just ISO, or are you going for AS or anything else? 13485?
13485.
Okay. So then you will have all of these sections with your QA manager, QMS coordinator, lead internal auditor, document control specialist, right? Pretty soon, one of you will have your name into all of these positions. And then
sounds busy.
Running a 2-man shop is busy. I think you know that, right?
I am getting the handle of it.
Yes. So let's go take a look at manufacturing manager here.
Okay.
So this is the one role that Justin is in right now. And again, keep in mind, this is all part of our Flying Start package. So in a normal system where you don't get that, none of this would exist here. So there's a job description here. there's Justin's name here, and he's 0% trained. And we can see all the training things that he needs. These are all different training documents that he needs to get trained on. And then below that is the actual list of training, the training requirements for this position, regardless of whether he's been trained or not. So you can see there's two types of trainings here. There's some individual trainings, and then there's what we call sort of virtual position or rolled up positions from other sub positions. So some of these fundamentals, ProShop fundamentals, QMS, planner, leader, QA disposition, lean fundamentals. So these are all things that we believe are important to someone that would be in a role of a manufacturing manager. And so, yeah, you have a question?
I didn't have a question, just a comment that Justin and I were talking about is, without this already predefined, we would not be able to, I don't know how many balls would be dropped between the two of us. And actually, I'll be honest with you, I did not know this was part of the Flying Start package that I purchased, because this seems to me practically wrapping up the reason why I got in the ProShop, was because these positions are editable, changeable, and it's all just sort of served up on your plate, and you can kick the peas off if you don't like peas and eat the carrots if you do, because this is really the critical aspect of where we need to be in order to be proficient and to make money with ProShop. These are the things that we need to be served up.
Well, these are the things you need to be proficient in to make money in a machine shop.
Right.
Like, we put a lot of fluff into here, right? This is, we think, fairly boiled down to the essentials of contract manufacturer, job shop, machine shop, or fab shop. Doesn't have to be metal, could be composites, could be, especially in a regulated space, right? You want to get 1345. That's a highly regulated requirement, and you're going to get audited, and they're going to look for holes in your systems and make sure you have all the records and the proof and the training and all that. And so that's what we're kind of serving up here, on your plate. So,
well, even if I wasn't targeting 13485, which is a fairly high standard, just running a business profitably, it takes the utmost of organization, and I don't know how other companies would do it without this. And the other thing is, as much as I love using technology, I am by no means an IT specialist. And what Michael was really helping us understand is the ease of making these changes to these positions. Can you walk us through how Justin, gets through this? Can you do that? Or is that, we don't have to do it, but I think it's interesting.
Like make a change to something?
Sure.
So you'll see over in the right-hand corner here, this position is at Rev A. And if you want to make a change, something substantial, like if you wanted to just fix a typo, right, or do something small, we just here and hit checkout, go into edit mode, and then make some edits. But if we're going to really change something substantial, then I'm going to create a draft revision. And now I'm editing draft Rev B of company position manager, right? You can see the watermarks on the back there. So now I can here hit checkout. Oh, looks like you already have it. Let's see.
Sorry, I'm done. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that.
So actually, this is great. This is showing will not let two different people edit the same thing at the time, right? There are ERP systems out there that will allow that, and whoever hits save last will overwrite everything the other person just did. And that is not good. That is not good.
No.
You saved it now?
I've logged out now.
All right, let me try it. So I can actually do this. I'm going to actually check that in for you. Let's see, company positions. Try that. Let's see. So I can come into this from a bunch of different ways. So let's just go into Justin here and go into manufacturing manager. And then it says view draft rev B, right? So once you have a draft going, you'll also notice that the checkout button is gone. So you can't edit A anymore because you shouldn't be editing a current one while you have a draft in Work. So anyway,
so cool.
And we'd start doing our thing. Let me try this. Oh, that's weird. I'm not very good at the manage checkouts. Anyway, when you go into edit mode, you'll have a full WYSIWYG editor right here. Bullet points and bold and italic and different sizes and colors and underlines and all that. So, kind of like Word or something like that. And you'll have a list of all the requirements, and you can pull in different requirements from the other modules, whether it's training or company positions. And then we're going to automatically show you sort of all of these things. This part is not editable in this page. We can also see there's nothing archived yet, but once we finish releasing Rev B, Rev A will automatically go into the archive. Make it visible for most people. So, and yeah, so that's how it would work. So yeah, if he wants to change, add some verbiage to this section right here, that's
right.
Go ahead and do that. And or decide, what, I want to add a new training about something that we do, or I want to remove a training that we just don't think is necessary for us. But I would caution on removing things to make sure that you're not meeting something about the standard itself, the 13.5 standard, because we tie all the trainings and all the tasks and actual work things into the standard. So we're saying, well, if you took out this section, you would then not be performing part of the things you need to do for section 5.2.1.
Right.
So you would like a gap during an audit.
One of the things that Justin and I talk a lot about are cultural requirements, cultural responsibilities. And so we were wondering whether or not in the position description, for instance, part of our essential functions, whether everybody thinks this way or not, part of our essential functions is your level of leadership. And we think that goes in there as well. So we wanted to take our cultural ideas and include those in the essential functions, whether it's technical or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great point. Sorry, I'm just messing around here.
That's all right.
Yeah, the cultural part of a company is cannot be, the importance cannot be understated how important that is. And actually, when we were recording one of those podcasts, Jim Carr talks about one of the big changes he's made in his shop over the last couple of years is hiring for cultural fit, right? And he told us a story. They had a prospective employee in, I think it was a third interview with the whole team. And after that person left, they looked at their core values, which is right on a plaque right there in their conference area. And they said, does this person meet all of these core values? And there was one that they thought he really didn't. And so that was the end of it. They didn't hire that person. And so, yeah, if you want to put in your core values and how the different sort of cultural, fit is for those as it relates to each position, I think that's a really smart idea.
Well, that's what we plan to do as we get proficient in putting these positions together, is including the cultural responsibilities that we expect out of that position.
Yeah.
As well as the technical.
Yeah, that's super smart. Awesome, Tom. Well, anything else that you want to share that happened this week, or thoughts you had about the process or anything?
I just wanted to back up over here and just there was actually, so as part of our homework, which Michael diligently assigns.
We've been trying to find a better name for it than homework, because people are like, I don't want homework. Nobody likes homework. So if you can think of a better name, please let me know.
Well, I might call it continual review.
Oh, that's good.
So this week's continual review seemed a little bit basic, right? Which browser you use, how to use a browser. And as I got to the third video, which are very well done, I realized, she brought up some points that I had kind of forgotten about. And I was sort of annoyed that I wanted to be true to the system and follow the process and not try to just skip over or gloss over any of this, stay engaged with it. I really did appreciate it by the third video, and they're short, which also I very much appreciate. I appreciated starting from a point where, not everybody is as proficient as everybody else. I like the expectations that you have where you don't expect people to be, AS 400 masters who, know SQL and, this is how this works. And we're going to remind everybody about how to do that. And I felt like I picked up some reminders about how tabs work and what you can do with them. And I don't use them all the time like that, but I'm sure I will as I become a little deeper. So
Sure.
I just appreciated the 101.
Okay. Yeah, and we do think that's important. You'd be surprised. We sometimes go into shops where the first thing that we do is we show some of those shop guys, how to use a mouse, right? This is the upside of the mouse. This is the left button. This is the right button. And it's remarkable. Sometimes we need to start there. So
that might be a barrier for people to get involved with something that's so critical to the success of their shop. Is maybe they have some internal embarrassment, like, I don't even know how to use a mouse, when there are people out there who are willing to show you the basics. And that's just appreciated. I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah. And there is no shame in not being really good on computers. I'll bet you that guy that doesn't know how to use a mouse that well could square up a block to within 2/10, and make crazy 3D geometry and do unbelievable things with metal, right? That a superpower of theirs. And it's okay if computers isn't their superpower.
Well, none of us know anything unless we've experienced ourselves or somebody has told us in some way. So to be ashamed or not thinking that you don't want to improve yourself because somebody hasn't showed you yet, I think you guys have done a good job in just showing the basics and not assuming that I know more than I do, because obviously I don't. So.
Oh, sorry, right. Going by. I'm trying to keep my mic muted when I'm not talking. All right, Tom. Well, this has again been a blast. I appreciate your just sharing everything about your journey with us and exploring as we go, so other people can learn what this process is like. Thanks for your time today. I'll let you get back to it, and talk to you again in a week.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, good talking to you. Take care.